Hello YouTube, and this is going to be a video on mainly not trivializing male genital mutilation or female genital mutilation or any form of genital mutilation. And I would also like to say that the other part of this video and or me covering other topics is going to be very short because I see very little happening in the news right now to talk about, so this should be a short video today. But first of all, before I get to the main topic of the video, I would like to say supposedly they found a portrait of Bill Clinton wearing one of Monica Lewinsky's dresses inside of Jeffrey Epstein's New York apartment or his home. Now, simply allow me to say this first of all, or let me say rather, I am a huge supporter of not only LGBTQ rights, but of drag queens. I have supported and defended drag children, drag kids. I support drag queens, and I am myself I am myself a bit of a drag queen. And I have talked about wearing drag. I used to love wearing makeup. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So please do not be offended by me saying this. This is strictly me being critical of Bill Clinton. Okay, first of all, let me state that. But let me get to the point. As regards to a portrait, Jeffrey Epstein having a portrait of Bill Clinton wearing a Monica Lewinsky dress, first off, I would like to know three things. First of all, just let me say ill. Second of all, what the fuck? And third of all, is it the one from Whitewater? I just want to know. I'm thinking it's the one from Whitewater. That's actually the very funny part of this. Now then, to genital mutilation. One of the arguments that you'll get, and I have talked about this before in a way, but this is a bit of a different take on it. But they will say that by comparing male genital mutilation to female genital mutilation, you are in some bizarre way trivializing female genital mutilation. Now, let me just say this first off. I have been very vocal about being against female genital mutilation. I am against that. Not only am I against female genital mutilation, I have even come out against piercing a girl's ears. And I'm sorry, as much as I am against piercing a female child's ears, I think that that's a little bit different from genital mutilation. I would say that genital mutilation is quite a bit worse, but I'm against all of it. I don't care if you're piercing a girl's ears, mutilating a female's genitals, or a male's genitals. I don't think any of that is okay. And I have also talked about hermaphroditism. I think it's wrong to perform any kind of corrective surgery on a child who is an hermaphrodite. I don't think you should do that. But I think that saying that you're trivializing female genital mutilation by saying male genital mutilation is comparable, and I'm not even going into whether or not any kind of female genital mutilation is like male genital mutilation. I'm not even doing that. I just want to say that, first of all, no one's trivializing anything. I'm against both. And second of all, let me say that this is not an Olympic contest. The point is you're taking away someone's right to decide what to do with their body and what their body should be like at a very young age, and they're the ones that have to live with the fucking decision that you're making for them. And this is not what bedtime your kid goes to bed at. This is not bedtime. This is not something like a baptism where it's symbolic only, and ultimately the decision to follow a religion or something is up to the child. Hell, this isn't even religious in the majority of cases. It's a cosmetic surgery for the most part that you're performing on a kid. So I think that that's the most important thing. It's not an Olympic contest. Oppression should not be seen as some kind of Olympic sport. It doesn't matter if boys are more oppressed or girls are more oppressed. The bottom line is no one should be fucking oppressed. But third of all, what you're doing is, once again, you're actually self-projecting and you're manipulating the language, and you're trying to reverse something where you're trying to make it look like I'm doing something that you're actually doing. Because by you saying that female genital mutilation is so much incredibly worse, you're limiting how bad male genital mutilation is. And sometimes they will literally talk about male genital mutilation in the same way that someone who's either for the procedure or don't care about the procedure or have a neutral opinion of the procedure, they're almost talking about it in the same way they would. And that's the ones that are against it. Some of them are not against male genital mutilation. And I have seen some of these people promote that. And they will defend that. And even the ones that are against it will try to defend it in order to build up how bad female genital mutilation is. So really what you're doing is you're the one defending and or trivializing male genital mutilation, and no genital mutilation should be trivialized. No child deserves to have their genitals mutilated. No one deserves to have their genital mutilation, and no one should have their body modified in that way unnecessarily without their consent. And it's the same thing for a girl who has her ears pierced. I'm against that. So I just want to say that. Moving heard or beyond that, I see that CNN has also, guess what, had a number of fucking problems recently. Supposedly, has been an array of racial slurs hurled back and forth between various CNN anchors. Don Lemon has gotten in trouble supposedly for trying to attack someone at a bar. He got up in someone's face for some reason. I don't want to know where his finger was, but he stuck his fingers in someone's face and said you go like dick or pussy. And it's actually would all be rather quite comical if this shit wasn't so real and so serious. But that is your fake news, like Trump says, the fake news. That's what this is, and it's just more proof that our country is completely fucked and falling into fast decline. We're in free fall. The United States is in fucking free fall. And I just wanted to say that, and I just wanted to say that again, just like I said about feminists, a lot of feminists, not all feminists, not moderate feminists, not feminists that do believe in men's rights and believe in human rights, because some feminists are not anti-male, but the ones that are, just like a lot of the ones that are, just like a lot of conservatives, those people, just like people like Bill O'Reilly and people like that I've talked about before, they're hypocrites and they're completely hypocritical. But I just want to say that I believe in human rights. I believe in truth, honesty, being honest, telling the truth, knowledge, the spreading of knowledge, the sharing of ideals, debate, discussion, free discourse between people and peoples, and that kind of thing. And I believe if you look at foreign policy, if we based our foreign policy on diplomacy and not let's just blow them up, like if you actually based it on let's have a talk with these people and try to reach out, and I'll give Trump credit, he's actually done that more than a lot of other presidents did. 1 minute. If you actually reached out to people and or try to come to the more rational, reasonable conclusion between nations, and the same thing between people, you get a better result. Or in other words, I think you win more flies with honey than shit. But that's a big problem with this country. But again, the point is, regardless whether whatever way you want to look at this, no one is trivializing female genital mutilation. But you are, or may very well be, in many cases, you might very be trivializing female genital mutilation. And it doesn't help, like when you see actual fascists that might be over the left, they may be on the left, but they're fascists, and they want to censor people, and they do things like that, and violence in some cases, in the case of some people in Antifa, who I don't support putting on a government watch list, and I don't support making them a domestic terrorist group, and I think they have a right to associate and discuss things and freely associate and freely meet. I don't want to do that, but they would not extend that same freedom to me. And when you see some of these people, and some conservatives on the right who don't want to admit their culture is wrong, and they have a cultural bias against other cultures, and they almost say that they don't care about and or even support male genital mutilation, then bitch about female genital mutilation, that does do something to a person where it's a kind of fight or flight. It makes you a bit more hostile, and it gives you more hostility towards the other viewpoint. But with me, the point is, regardless with me, I am just as much against female genital mutilation as I am male genital mutilation. But I do talk more about male genital mutilation largely because that is a much bigger problem in my country, and that is the shit that I'm standing in and that I have to deal with. And that doesn't mean that I support one or the other. It's just simply the shit that I'm standing in and that I have to deal with. And I'm the one grabbing a shovel, trying to shovel up this shit that you've dumped on this country's doorstep. And genital mutilation of male children happens to be one of those things. Let me know when you start mass mutilating female genitals, and I'll be trying to shovel that shit too. But right now it's males, and that's what I'm against. But all genital mutilation is wrong, and so is ear piercing of children without their consent. And so with corrective surgery or supposedly corrective surgery against done to hermaphroditic children. And I totally support sexual reassignment surgery of people once they hit 18 and think that should be something the government pays for. But I don't support any surgery to be done on anyone under the age of 18, even if they want that, because I don't think you can make that decision. But the point is, regardless, I support all human rights, and I'm against all forms of genital mutilation or forced body modification of children or of anyone. And that's all. P666.